I've not seen this many veterans in a room since I was a tank platoon sergeant on active duty. Okay. Now I know some Air Force in here and some Navy, but you got to give you your dues. Okay. And for those, and like Toby said, I am retired Army, but let me give you a little bit more of my background for those of you who don't know me. I'll make this pretty quick because I'm not going to spend a lot of your time. I just appreciate you showing up. Thank you for being here tonight. And a lot of you are friends and neighbors and people I have been around for the last anywhere from between 5 and 6 years. But it reminds me why the campaign means so much, like Toby said, is the veterans, okay? But not just the veterans. We have a lot of other things that are going on right now in this state that need to be focused on the economy, jobs, our natural resources, okay? Growing the economy, school choice, Hope Scholarship. Those are the things that really, really matter to this state. Now, there's a lot of social issues, but those are underlying problems that need to be addressed. We need to worry about the economy and keeping people like my son, who's sitting back here, Matthew, keeping his age group in this state because they're the largest export of our state, and we're losing them in droves at that age group. And we're considered a gray state, senior state. We need to bring the youth back in. The only way we're going to do that is focusing on jobs and the economy and actually elimination of the personal income tax, okay? And even working on the personal property tax and personal property rights. So a little bit more about me. I kind of leaned heavily into why I'm running, but I want to focus in on me for just a minute, who I am, so you get to know me and kind of look at me, am I qualified to do this job? Outside being the Constitution qualifies me, the state of West Virginia and the U.S. Constitution. Well, let's look at my background. I'm West Virginia born and raised. I grew up in the Kanawha County coalfield, Eastern Kanawha County coalfields. I still have family that works in the coal mines and works around the coal mining industry. Okay. So I was born in Montgomery, West Virginia, and then moved on down the road into the military. My early education is graduated high school at 17. Moved into the adult workforce as a 17-year-old, working on pipeline and gas survey teams in the Eastern Kanawha County Mountains, Kanawha Valley Mountains, West Virginia. Moved on to the military in 1982 and really did not look back for a little bit, but my family's still here in West Virginia, okay? So I spent 20 years on active duty in the Armor and Cavalry, so I spent time in combat arms, and within that, I've been deployed all over the world. I've been in combat zones. I've been in friendly foreign nation countries, serving on the DMZ, serving on the old East-West German border. So I know what it's like to look at soldiers that want to kill me, okay? So we trained for that all my adult life. I trained for that. With that combat mission, also managed a lot of personnel and equipment of multi-million-dollar organizations. I retired as an E8, a first sergeant from the United States Army in 2002. Matter of fact, I just crossed the threshold about 4 years ago where I have been out as longer than I have been in, okay? So I'm at the 24-year mark now. Post-military, I'm a cybersecurity engineer. I'm a contractor, and I serve mainly the federal government as a contractor for cybersecurity. That's my current career. But I've got a few stints doing Department of Defense biometrics. So I'm a technologist. I understand technology. Now, what does that mean in relationship to energy and jobs? One, I understand the technology infrastructure needs of West Virginia and how that's going to keep our youth in West Virginia. Okay, number one. Number two is with energy. See the AI data centers, and a lot of this may be a foreign term to you, but I'd like for you to get comfortable with this term, is the SNMRs or SMRs, which are the small nuclear modular reactors, okay, that can power cities. West Virginia is a place where that can take hold without disrupting the ecosystems, without messing with the aquifers that are on personal property, and putting a drain on the rate payers for on the current grid, because AI data centers can be self-sufficient with the SMRs, okay? And we need to look at that and build our infrastructure and our legislative paths for those energy, for that energy sector. So, but at its core, this race is really about liberty and freedom. As individuals and having personal property rights, individual freedoms, our God-given rights that are endowed onto us through the U.S. Constitution. So I want to talk about my opponent. This is the only time I'm not going to mention him by name, but I will mention him by position. He is a current sitting senator, and he is my opponent. I am not a lazy person. I believe I'm a forward thinker. When I say forward thinker, I'm talking about getting the mission done. Okay, we identify problems, we find solutions, whether it's through legislation or whether it's through activism. We find these solutions. Okay, there's no lazy bone in my body, I tell you that. I don't sit around waiting for the winter session to come into play, and then all of a sudden I find out, well, I didn't sponsor any bills this time. I'm not the author of any bills. There are over 600 Senate bills down in the Capitol right now. My opponent's name is not on the author of any of them. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give you a real statistic here. The West Virginia Legislative Scorecard, his pro-liberty vote percentage over the last 3 years in the Senate is 46%. He sits down with the Democrats, okay, with the Joey Garcias of our state legislature, okay? In 2021, he was at 50% pro-liberty votes, 33% the following year, 67 in last year's session. And when I say he's not authoring anything, he's just a go along, get along kind of person, okay? I'll vote for ones. If you can tell me how it's going to benefit me, I'll vote for you. I'll vote for your bill, okay? And I don't need to get in all the granularity tonight, but he has voted with Senator Takubo to make sure that gender-affirming care can still be inserted in to affect our children. Now, I know that that's not an economical issue. It's more of a medical and health freedoms issue, which I support medical and health freedoms, but not doctors performing gender-affirming care on our youth when it's really just a mental issue, okay? And it needs to be addressed as such, especially for those that are below the age of 18. Federal tax dollars, state tax dollars, and the taxpayers' money in general should never, ever go to gender-affirming care, ever. So, like I said, at the core of this race is liberty, freedom to work, raise a family, and build a future without government standing in our way. That's true freedom. That's true liberty. And as West Virginians, we don't ask for special treatment. We ask for just a fair shot, okay? Level playing fields, okay? Without the government picking winners and losers. That's why I believe work should be rewarded and not punished, and our families should keep more of what they earn. That's where I was talking about quit chipping away at my income and holding me enslaved to the government and ripping me off every month and ripping off the taxpayer to support programs that no taxpayer would ever vote for, okay? So I'm all for elimination of the PIT, the personal income tax, complete elimination. That's where I am. That's going to grow our economy. That is going to grow in to making sure that we keep our youth here and bring in good paying jobs into the state. When people are free to work, save, and invest, the only thing that we want to follow is prosperity. Liberty also means energy independence. I have friends in here that are really on the energy side, okay? Because that's a key factor. Right now, we are sitting and standing on the second largest repository in the country when it comes down to coal. In the Northern Panhandle, there's the Shell Crescent, which has I think it's fifth largest in the world when it comes down to natural gas repositories, okay? Sitting right in the Wheeling, Marshall County, and the Northern Panhandle area, Marshall County, Wetzel, Pleasance, down in that area. There's a lot of gas over there that's still to be pulled out. And those are the above-the-line energy resources, energy that's going to give us energy independence, coupled with the future of the small modular reactors, local nuclear fission, okay, to power data centers, to power cities. We need to build that infrastructure. That's going to bring in jobs. It's not going to compete against coal. It's going to complement coal, okay, while still protecting our natural environments that we have here in the state of West Virginia. So these decisions about our future should not be made strictly in Washington. They need to be made here in our legislature. You have to have people in the legislature. Your elected officials must be down there so that they're looking forward to voting to support energy independence in this state, not the bureaucrats out of D.C. and not our bureaucrats in state agencies. This growth in energy is a private sector free market pursuit. And this freedom is going to belong at home, begins at home with West Virginia families. This is a limits on government. I am all about less government. Less government means more liberty and more freedom, and that is in all the sectors. And on your table there, I put something out that you can take a look at as why your support is going to matter. And it specifies my main key points: energy independence, lower taxes, economic freedom, parental rights and education choice, medical freedoms, and constitutional protections. I'd like for you to take a look at that, and I would like for you to be the campaign's advocate so that you can get a true conservative down in Charleston that's going to fight for you and fight for your families and your next generations. You know, there is a fact, all of us here in 50 years probably will not be here. So we cannot look at the near future and say, it's all about me. It's about our generations of our children and our grandchildren. How do we protect that legacy so we maintain West Virginia as an energy independent state, fueling our national security and fueling our national economics, okay? So finally, this freedom means opportunity. Like I said, I'm a cybersecurity engineer. I've got friends in here that work in the technology industry with me. So we understand what broadband means. We understand what is wiring our communities for success. We cannot grow the southern part of the state and make them successful and put economic success into their area if we're not putting in broadband technology and broadband infrastructure, giving not only the students a chance to exceed and excel, but also the businesses that will follow on through that with those families that they're supporting. So together here tonight, I appreciate your support. I'm very, very appreciative of you showing up, okay? Together, I'd like to have your help. That way we can protect our liberty here in the state. We can grow the economic opportunities of the state and move this district. This district is a good mix. We're in north central West Virginia. We have technology in this area. But we also have our rural neighbors to the south in Lewis. We have beef farmers in here tonight, veterans, okay? We have people that have farms that have gas on those, okay? We have people that work in the private sector as economists. So in this room here, I think we have a good range we have property owners. So we have a good representation of what we need to focus on in this state. So if you believe in this vision, I'm going to ask you for your continued support, your time, your voice. And unfortunately, the politics also succeeds with financial contributions. You have a QR code that's on the paper in front of you. Feel free, and it will be on the website tonight. Feel free to pass that QR code around. Feel free to get to my website. My website for the campaign is earley4wsenate12.com. It's on the paper that you have down there with the scanning of the QR code. You can donate either through check, cash, or you can donate through WinRed. So take a look at that. Get the word out. I need support down in Calhoun and Gilmer County. I've got to get down to those Republicans down there because this year, my opponent has been hamstrung on his votes. Not because he's a conservative, because he's not. I'm the real conservative in this race. My opponent hinged on having independents and Democrats casting votes for him. Not going to happen this time. We have a closed primary. That's what we need to do. True conservatism by closed primaries. That way Republicans get to choose who they want to be in office, whether they're either the most conservative or you want somebody that's least conservative. And I don't think if you came here tonight, you would vote for my opponent. But I would appreciate your assistance on getting the word out that I am running against the current incumbent sitting senator that has not produced any bills this cycle and is only co-sponsored on 1% of over the 600 bills that have been presented to the Senate this cycle. I call that lazy and reprehensible that you cannot do your job and feel entitled to the position just because of your name. Thank you very much for showing up tonight, and I appreciate you.